I grew up on a small cattle ranch in Oklahoma. And as a kid, I was always kind of passionate about how wildlife and animals interact with one another. And my dad was kind of what I would call a regenerative farmer before that was even a term. And so he was always telling me about how critical, our native perennial grasslands and all the things that live in that, including our beef cattle and how they work together. So at a very young age, I was kind of learning these concepts of regenerative, but this was not a term. It was just something that my dad instilled in me in a young age. So as I got older, and beginning to see a lot of the kind of destructive, extractive things that we created in our food system, that I was on a mission to change that. And that's how kind of Rep Provisions came about. Rep Provisions is our direct consumer company where we get products from different farms and ranches using regenerative practices and use it as an outlet for these farms and ranches to create a better avenue for their products so they can be kind of compensated fairly and keep this mission going and growing, and hopefully establish many more farms and ranches across the nation that will want to be in this program. We started Rep on this family ranch here, and we were using this as our sole supply chain, but that was not the mission of Rep. The goal was to create more regenerative farmers across the state of Oklahoma. So since then, we've gotten 4 additional Oklahoma farms enrolled in our program and our processes. And then on top of that, the bigger vision is to scale this across the nation. So we actually have a bison ranch in Durango, Colorado, that's a certified regenerative ranch as well. So we're hoping to kind of build this big momentum and this passion about regenerative agriculture and improving our land and our health at the same time by using Rep as that outlet for their products. We're a big believer that the customers want to know where their food came from. And we can show them. And this is part of the benefit in the world we live today, is like we can tell that story through social media and other avenues now where we couldn't before. So now we can really connect that consumer with their food and say, this is how we grow it. We believe you are what you eat, but you are what you eat eats. For example, our beef cattle on this ranch graze on 70 different species of grasses. And we believe that because of all this connection in nature, that everything is connected, the more species, the more biodiversity you have, the more nutrients you're pulling from that soil to that grass. I mean, this is well-established science, we know this. And if that animal is eating more varied nutrients in that grass, that's going to transfer to our body. And I do believe that because we've gotten towards agriculture as this monocrop system, only growing one thing, that there's a loss of nutrients in our soil. And that's transferring to our bodies. So getting back to these natural cycles in nature, creating this nutrient-dense grass, which then creates nutrient-dense meat, which then transfers to our bodies, is critically important. We have partnered with a local lady who develops and makes all of our own bone broth. She has a great little company in Tulsa, so we're helping support that. We have another guy who helps us develop different healthy spices and sauces to pair with our meats. What we found out is that there's all these great people in the community that are wanting to help us, and it's super inspiring because there's so much talent. You don't know about it until you start talking about what you're doing, and they're like, we want to be a part of that. We want to help. And so now we're creating this tons of momentum, bringing about all these other incredible talents that live nearby that are wanting to build this up. So that's really inspiring for us. So my number one health tip for me, and this is how I live my life daily, is regenerative meats and fruit and raw dairy. I think these are the things that have created, me to sustain daily, but that's the majority of my diet. That's how I eat, how my wife eats, how my child eats, and it's worked very well for us. Health Awake means to me that people are beginning to awaken and realize how important health is. And part of that is the food and how it's grown and how that affects our health. But I think this awakening recently has changed that narrative, and folks are beginning to realize that yes, food is critically important, but it's also how it was raised is critically important as well.